and you failed to do what you needed to do when you needed to do. And that's really what liability is. What did you have? Did you have to do something, and did you do it or no? Not the result. Not they were saved or they weren't saved, or they lived another 10 days. But your two non-medical uses are going to be litigation testimony in a criminal courtroom or civil courtroom, either because of you're the defendant or someone else's, an insurance reimbursement. And here's the two things for insurance reimbursement. Right? Why did the patient require transport by medic versus a bus or a cab or a car? The other thing is, why was the particular ED appropriate? So if I drive from here down to Grant, why was it okay for me to drive past Riverside? And both hospitals can pretty much do the same thing. Well, Riverside was on divert. So these two are big things for insurance reimbursement. Do you guys bill for EMS transports?
Yes.
I got two more slides. Here's where I think insufficient areas are, to kind of summarize what we've been talking about. Objective facts describing complaint assessment. Too many times I think we put conclusions, not the objective facts. So using your example, the conclusion would be the patient states he has chest pain just to get us out here and get him to the hospital. The objective facts would be I showed up, did a 4-lead, 12-lead on the patient, normal sinus, no elevation, patient denies having chest pain. Now, patient states that he called for X, Y, and Z. Those are objective facts versus a conclusion that just states guy had no emergency. Mobility status. Sometimes we forget the mobility status. That's important, right, for some medical things, more important probably for insurance reasons. If the person can't move around that well and they need to go by cot and a medic, that'll support reimbursement from Medicare and Medicaid. Facts to support protocol deviations or treatment that was not completed. Right, so there's a lot of times, how you guys probably go mostly to Sands or
Mostly Riverside, OSU, actually.
Oh, in OSU? Okay, so that's what, like 15-minute, 20-minute transport?
No.
Depends on where
Or is it too long? Is that too long?
10 to 15.
So you may not get through your entire protocol in 10 to 15 minutes. Right? So it's got to be clear, if I didn't get my IV until minute 9, why I didn't give the required drugs I needed to give. Right? So it's got to be clearly stated, facts, not conclusions, why I didn't do what my protocol said or why certain treatments weren't done. And then a big one that I think is overlooked a lot is reassessment after treatment. Right? Reassessment after treatment. Now, some of the good PCR software is good because it triggers you to say change, no change, or I think most of them say improved, not improved, or unchanged or something. So reassessment, but usually when we're doing handwriting things, and even some now, I still don't see. Sometimes people will skip those. Here's my personal notes. Your patient care report is directly reflective of your competency as a paramedic. Right? If I came up here in a pair of tattered jeans, boot-cut jeans, and a pair of boots and a t-shirt, and I looked like I just got done bucking hay and feeding horses, you probably wouldn't assume that I was a good attorney. If I came in here and looked like an attorney and acted like an attorney, then your assumption will be that I actually know what I'm doing. Why? Because you maybe somebody in the room is an attorney, I don't know. But you don't know what an attorney does, how an attorney does those things. But what you do have is an image of who and what an attorney is. So your impression of my competency is based upon your anchoring in those things that you understand. Likewise, the public, people, juries, judges, even sometimes RNs don't understand what it is EMS does in the context in which they do it. But they do understand how to write. And they do understand sarcasm. And they do understand what things look like when they're completed properly. So it's a direct reflection upon your competency. You got to make a conscious and deliberate effort to do it. You got to go back and read your old stuff. Right? Grow and develop. Don't stay on a hamster wheel forever. You're never going to have any fun in this job. Think about the incident. Create the image or the picture. Objectively document circumstances, not conclusions. You got to be able to tell everybody down the line what's going on. And please, before you submit the PCR, read it and make sure that it tells one cohesive story and there's no obvious errors in it. And we'll all look back at something and say, man, I should have done that. But you may not know it at the time. But you definitely can stop a treatment that's 30 minutes after you drop the patient off at the hospital complete misspellings, complete misstatements. Maybe you were doing two runs back to back and you conflated some of those runs. So just think about what's going on before you hit the submit button and it's lost out into cyberspace. Any questions? Yes, Dr. Ray.
Mike, I do have a question for
Mhm.
you, just as a foundational question, because I've heard you say this, I just want to get it out. Is there a thought process that the less you document, the better?
Yeah, this has been brought up to me in the past.
Mhm.
It is something I absolutely disagree with, but I have heard people go, oh, the less I put down, the less I'll get in trouble.
Mhm.
And my immediate answer is no. Generally, the more you put down, the more you protect yourself.
The more circumstances you put down, the better off you are in the long run.
Right.
So, and when I say circumstances, I mean facts, assessments, tangible things that somebody else could see, not conclusions. The less you document, the more you box yourself in. Because if you say, I don't remember, that's all that happened one time, and then you're talking about it a year and a half or 2 years later. Well, your memory was better then, and that's all that happened. How come 2 years down the road, now you have this fabulous story about what's happening? Your credibility is going to be shot. You need to document the circumstances that are directly relevant to the care that you provide, or may be relevant to other healthcare providers down the street. Medical record. It's not for you. It's for other people downstream. Right? Very few authors write just to read their own books. Probably some people out there. And a PCR is not a cathartic experience where you can just get out what you want to get out. Document circumstances in as much as you think are pertinent or relevant to the situation at hand. You walk in, you don't need to say, well, I walked up 3 flights of stairs into a somewhat musty and dirty and smelly home with a broken light above the doorway. But if the patient is septic and they're living in horrible conditions, that may be relevant. Right? You're the person, you're the eyes and ears there, you need to filter that through. But do not intentionally not write down things under the false assumption that somehow that's going to be beneficial to you. This is the patient's patient care report. It's a medical record used for medical purposes. Does that answer the question?
To some extent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Mhm.
But just to tell you what we're thinking, when we do QA, I start with a narrative. So if I see chest pain, treatment as listed, transfer care to room 27, that's a one-line assessment that doesn't help me, and I don't know.
I'm glad you said that, because when I get a case, the first thing I go to is the narrative.
Right.
And even when I look at medical records from the hospital, the first thing I go to is the physician's statement,
Right.
not the check boxes and whatever. Because it ties the whole thing together. And that's what I think the important part of the narrative is, to tie everything together. Give me that big picture, that framework within which the call occurred. I don't think that that's a good narrative.
No.
I've always.
I think we need more there.
At least my own opinion, one thing I've always told people is, I want in the narrative the things that are non-benign. You know, if I started an 18-gauge needle, 18-gauge angiocatheter right AC, and that was written up here, that's fine. But if I started an 18-gauge IV in the right AC and it blew and I had a huge hematoma, I need to see that in the narrative.
So what I do personally as a paramedic, partly because of my legal background now, I say things, let's say I started an 18 gauge in the right AC and it was fine. No swelling, no redness, put an offside on that thing, taped it down, extension set on it, TKO'd on the way in. I will just, in my narrative, encountered patient, this is what I saw, moved him to medic, kind of tell the theme of what's going on. Venous access obtained. I don't put, because it's up there. The specifics are up there.
But you would rewrite that?
What? I'd put down venous access obtained. If I'm unsuccessful, venous access unsuccessful times 1, covered with Band-Aid, 4x4, whatever, period, second attempt successful. And the reason why I do that is because what Dr. Runn said and what my experience has been when I started litigating cases, the first thing I go to is the narrative. The first thing I go to. And that sets the tone for my mental image of the entire call. And if you're terse and quick and short in your narrative, my first impression is you're terse and short and quick in your EMS care. Because, why? because some people read that. They don't know what it's like, what you do. They don't have the experience that you do, but they do understand writing and reading. So they'll get the impression from that about your EMS care. It's a direct reflection upon your competence. That may take 4 minutes longer or 5 minutes longer, but 2 years down the road, you know, I usually say 2 years down the road when you have to show up in my office, well, you guys aren't going to show up in my office, but you'll be happy. Happy. And another thing I don't talk about in this, when you file a medical malpractice claim, an expert witness has to review it. So if they see that short narrative, assumptions out the wazoo. But if you lock it down and you tell the whole story, that physician who's reviewing the case before it's filed, hopefully will say, it's good. You know, there's nothing I can do without some other piece of factual evidence that tells me they did something bad. So, I like the story.
And I just have one final question,
Oh, yeah.
and that is that chart, from your standpoint, a narrative that gives a timeline is preferable to any of those, which I agree with, but rather than a chart format, for example, chief complaint duration, for example.
Yeah, and what I mean by timeline is, I don't mean, you know, write out 1803, but just, I encountered the patient sitting in a chair, I took initial vital signs, put him on the cot, we strapped him, we moved him outside. Once I was in the medic, I started the IV, I did the 12 lead, whatever. I want to know, was the 12 lead in the house or was the 12 lead in the medic? That's what I think. Yeah. So just that global picture of what we're doing. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's take 5 and meet back in.